Okay, so here we go through the New Testament. Our daily fuel. Moving ahead, getting fueled up and moving on, mile after mile after mile. And we've got a destination in mind, so we will get there. Chapter 19 of the book of John. Coming to the end of the book of John. Then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. Well, Jesus is getting beat up for sure. He's up all night with the religious leaders at the house of the high priest, where all kinds of false accusations are made against him, where he's ridiculed, slapped, all kinds of stuff. So Pilate takes Jesus, had him flogged. And the soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And I have one that maybe some have seen this before. I found this in the Garden of Gethsemane, and I took it home, and I have it here. And so this crown of thorns, these treacherous thorns, and they put it on his head, and they clothed him with a purple robe, and they went up to him again and again, saying, "Hail, hail, King of the Jews," and they slapped him in the face. You know, this is some cruel stuff, and Jesus is being beaten, Jesus is being false accused, Jesus is being held against his will, really, but then it is in his will because he's doing it. But they come and they take him, make him stay up all night and answer questions, and he doesn't really answer them. Once more, Pilate came out and he said to the Jews gathered there, he said, "Look, I'm bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no basis for a charge against him." This is very important, and we've seen this before when we've done the other gospel accounts. That Pilate calls Jesus innocent. Jesus is never convicted of a crime. Pilate says that he's innocent. Pilate's wife said that he was innocent. The thief on the cross will say that he was innocent. The centurion at the cross will say, surely this was the Son of God. And so many calling him innocent, and yet the religious leaders lying about him, crucifying him. He said, I don't have any charge against him. When Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns in the purple robe, mocking him, Pilate said, "Here is the man." Here he is. As soon as the chief priests and the officials saw him, they cried out, shouted, "Crucify, crucify." They want him gone. But Pilate answered, "You take him and crucify him. As for me, I find no charge against him." Pilate is arguing with him. There's no charge against this guy. This guy hasn't done anything. Of course, Pilate is the governmental authority, the Roman governmental authority, the one who has the power of capital punishment. The Jewish leaders insisted, "We have a law, and according to the law, he must die because he claimed to be the Son of God." That's the charge. He claimed to be the Son of God. When Pilate heard this, he was even more afraid, and he went back inside the palace. "Where did you come from?" he asked Jesus. But Jesus gave him no answer. The prophecy said, as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. And he said, "Do you refuse to speak to me? Don't you realize I have the power to either free you or crucify you?" Well, Jesus decides to speak. He hasn't been defending himself, and he's not really defending himself here either. He's just bringing some clarity to the situation. He's not trying to defend himself. Pilate said, "Don't you know I have the power to free you or crucify you?" And Jesus said, "You would have no power over me if it were not given to you from above." Kind of interesting, isn't it, that somehow governmental authorities, no matter who they are, their power comes to them from on high. It says the same thing in Romans 13. It's a little difficult to understand sometimes. How is it that God is giving the power and the authority to Pilate and to Rome, and then Rome crucifies Jesus? Therefore, the one who has handed me over to you is guilty of the greater sin. Well, that would be the religious leaders. From then on, Pilate tried to set Jesus free, but the Jewish leaders kept shouting, "If you let this man go, you're no friend of Caesar. Anyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar." Pilate wants to let him go. He's doing everything in his power that he can do in order to let him go. And ultimately, maybe he could have let him go, but it's an awful political mistake for Pilate. And what they do is the religious leaders here are saying that he claims to be a king, and there's no king but Caesar. And so if you let him go, you're not a friend of Caesar. Now, Pilate doesn't want to be on the bad side of Caesar because Caesar has the power of the sword as well, where he can kill Pilate. Pilate's between a rock and a hard place. What's he going to do? When Pilate heard this, he brought Jesus out and sat down in the judge's seat, a place known as the stone pavement, which is in Aramaic, Gabbatha. It was the day of preparation for the Passover. It was about noon. So here it is, middle of the day, Passover's ready to get prepared. Pilate's all confused, what he should do. He wants to let the guy go. He knows the guy's innocent. He's fighting with it. These guys are saying, if you let him go, we're going to go tell Caesar that you are no friend of Caesar. In fact, that you are opposed to Caesar and that you see other authorities other than Caesar. Anyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar. So Pilate said, "Here's your king," he said. "Here he is." And they said, "Crucify him, crucify him. Take him away, crucify him." And Pilate said, "Shall I crucify your king?" And they said, "We have no king but Caesar." Wow! These guys have completely blown it and completely turned. Their whole life was built around that they did not like being oppressed by Caesar. They did not like being oppressed by Rome. So much of what they were about being a free people, about looking for the Messiah, was that the Messiah was going to free them from this oppressive Roman rule. And now they're saying that their king is Caesar. They've never gone here. This is new territory for them. Boy, oh boy. When you're trying to get away from God, the things that you will resort to. "We have no king but Caesar," the chief priest answered. Finally, Pilate handed him over to them to be crucified. So the soldiers took charge of Jesus. Carrying his own cross, he went out to the place of the skull, Calvary, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha. There they crucified him with two others, one on one side, Jesus in the middle. Pilate had a notice prepared and fastened to the cross. It said, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." Many of the Jews read this sign, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. And the chief priests of the Jews protested, "Don't write King of the Jews, but write that he claimed to be King of the Jews." And Pilate said, "Don't you tell me what to write. I've written what I've written. And you have no right to tell me what I'm going to be writing here." When the soldiers crucified Jesus, they took his clothes and they divided it up into 4 shares, one for each of them, and then the undergarment remaining. But this garment was seamless, woven from one piece, from the top to the bottom. This is one valuable piece. "Let's not tear it," they said. "Let's decide by lot who will get it." Well, this happened that the scriptures might be fulfilled. "They divided my clothes among them, and they cast lots for my garment." Now, how can anybody set up that prophecy to make it happen? These prophecies, these 300 prophecies in the Old Testament, pointing to Jesus and his first coming and who he would be and what he would do, and it happened exactly as said. So this is what the soldiers did. Near the cross stood Jesus and his mother. She had to watch this. His mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. A lot of Marys. When Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved standing, he said, "Woman, here is your son." And to the disciples he said, "Here is your mother." From that time on, the disciple took her into his home. Jesus was really creating a new community, right? The church. John was going to take care of his mom, and his mom would be taking care of John for the rest of her life. And Jesus does this in the new community that he invites us into. We care for one another. We take care of one another. We watch out for one another. We pray for one another. We fellowship with one another. We're part of the new community. Hey, bless you guys. Love you. We'll move on in the Gospel of John. Let's finish it up.